Breaking news, it's happened. That mosquito-borne Zika virus has now spread into the United States. In fact, there are currently 3 cases that have been reported right here in New York City. All 3 individuals contracted the virus while traveling outside the country. The virus is linked to a sharp jump in birth defects and neurological syndromes. Reports indicate an international health emergency could soon be declared as soon as Monday. Joining me now, Jillian, Melchior, and Lieutenant Colonel Mitch Utterback. Mitch, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Charles.
This has gone through South America. It's right up on our border. We knew eventually that it would hit. The UN probably will call some sort of a worldwide emergency. Right. What are we talking about here?
Well, I can speak to what the CDC, U.S. Northern Command, and each state is doing. You know, unfortunately, we're probably the best prepared country in the world to deal with any kind of threat like this. We have plans that are sitting on the shelf waiting to be dusted off. They go back to H1N1 and other pandemic diseases. So what we want to do is kind of reassure people that the United States is best prepared of any place in the world to respond at the state, local, and the national level.
Although, did we get lucky with Ebola? What happened with that? Because it feels like now these are recurring more often. You know, every other year there's a new one. You just mentioned the bird flu, then there's Ebola. It's happening so often that even though we're prepared for it, it feels like we've been dodging bullets, and we can't do that forever.
Yeah, well, our world's gotten a lot smaller. I think the good news with this is that it's not transmitted person to person. It's transmitted by mosquitoes. Now, one thing that could contribute to the spread of it in the United States is you've seen the environmental movement. You've seen mommy bloggers going after use of pesticides like DEET. Even though there's a lot of scientific evidence saying that, you know, mosquitoes kill a lot of people. We need to be using these things. I think that
kills
alarmism.
More people more human beings on the planet than mosquitoes, period. I mean, literally. I'm glad you brought that up, because I feel like America, to a certain degree, is very selfish. We use DDT, we eradicated malaria and all these other things in our country. Then we told the rest of the world, don't use it. Yeah. And one of the reasons is it's killing bald eagles, except the same people are building these windmills that are killing bald eagles.
Yep.
You know, when do the rest of the world, South America, Africa, we keep keeping them at these third world levels, in part because of economic policies and these kind of policies that say, we're doing this for your own good. Well, millions of them die every single year from these kind of things. And ultimately, if the world is getting smaller, we're at greater risk. Mitch, what do you think?
What it takes is a threat to the United States. Don't we respond best when we're threatened? That's what it's going to take. It's going to take more cases in the U.S., and then the gloves are going to come off, and the plans are coming out, and we're really going to see, again, our government at its best, but our government is always at its best when we're threatened the most.
And I do want to alert the audience, I'm just now hearing we have 5 cases have been reported in America. It's up to 5. Again, right now we know that it spreads through mosquitoes, but we've got a lot of mosquitoes in this country too. It's right up on the border. 3 cases in New York City. I'm not sure yet where the next 2 are from, but as this spreads, and as it's all 5 in New York City, of course, like Ebola.
Yeah, center.
And this is a scary prospect, because when people start to see photographs of these children who are born with these birth defects, it's going to break your heart.
Oh, it's completely heartbreaking. And if you look at the magnitude of this, I mean, I think it's 31 cases have been reported in the United States since 2015. But in a place like Brazil, which is the epicenter of it, you've got 1.5 million people coming down with this. Huge risk to pregnant women, huge risk to unborn babies. It's tragic.
And there's no known, well, as a virus, from what I understand, and I know no one here is a medical doctor or scientist, but I understand viruses, there aren't cures, there's just treatments, and I don't even think there's a treatment available for this just yet. In Colombia, they're just asking women, don't get pregnant.
Yeah. I mean, for adults, the symptoms aren't that severe usually. It's about 1 in 5 that end up having symptoms. They're like headache, rash. You can get a little bit nauseous. They're things that are, in most cases, treatable. The real risk is to children.
Mitch, you just left the military. You just retired. Thank you for your service. What role should America play with respect? Because now you have a lot of people from both sides of the political aisle saying, listen, we definitely shouldn't be in the business of making democracies, or, you know, we want to meddle less and less outside of this country with respect to those things. But when it comes to medicine, epidemics, pandemics, what role should we be playing?
Well, we saw with Ebola, the president sent medical expeditionary task forces to crisis areas of the world. And we also had places within military bases in the U.S. that were prepared to respond and treat. I foresee another type of medical expeditionary task force. You know, that's a lot easier than putting boots on the ground in Syria. So I think we're going to see some of that.
And maybe we may want to be a little bit more proactive and rethink about what we demand from so-called third world countries in their health and their people. Thanks a lot.